before your great majesty, who lives and reigns forever. Amen. I believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth.
Talaga na rin buhat. Kakit mo yan. Kakit mo yan. Kasi... Ganda to eh, ganda. Ay, bilang gamot ang kalok na kay. Bilang gamot ang kalok na kay. Baka mo bilang kayo. Baka mo.
Baka hindi niya matuluan mo yan. Kaya ba yung rosary, Ben? Ha?
Ay, hindi. Ano ba hindi na kayo nakalato? Ay, tatanda. Hindi na kayo. Ay, naku, nagkambalino na kayo. Katibig. 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 O, isabi ko kayo.
O, sabi.
O, katibig.
Dapat naman. Iti kami. Iti kami takil kemari. Anak-anak iti kami takil kemari. Kami atau mengalami video.
Ya.
Ya. May nice din na hindi mo pa mga tama ayos po.
Where did you put it? Okay. Hi everyone. So on behalf of my family, I'd like to thank you all for coming today to celebrate the life of Leonardo, Ebitner, Eclevia. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ryan. I'm the son of Mimi, and my grandpa's number one of all. I'm just kidding. He would never really tell us who his favorite grandchild was because he loved all of us too much to pick his favorites. So what can I tell you about my grandpa that you don't already know? My grandpa was a simple man with few vices. He didn't gamble, he never smoked a cigarette, he didn't drink, and he didn't do any drugs. So what did he indulge himself in? Well, he would eat fun-sized Milky Way chocolate bars. His favorite TV show was The Price is Right, and he loved my grandma very, very much. He was a proud veterano and fought during World War II and managed to survive and escape the Bataan Death March. What did he do after he escaped the Death March? Naturally, he went to see my grandma and they started their family. I remember the day he passed away and we were all crying and saying our goodbyes. Before they took him away, I remember saying, I love you and thank you to him. You see, my grandpa was a very important person in my life. He moved here in 1991 to help raise my brother and me while my parents worked. He raised us as his own children. And I don't think he'll ever know how much of an influence he has had on me throughout my life. It's because of him that I was able to finish college. He helped my mom pay for the house so that my mom could help pay for my books and housing. I also saw how education was important to him as he worked tirelessly to put his children through school by farming and even going to Guam to be a security guard. He was always learning himself. He'd keep up to date with current events and politics in the US and the Philippines. And his favorite book was an old book on law theories and practices that he bought from MVets. Unfortunately, I don't share the same love of politics and laws my grandpa did. If I did, I'd probably be rich right now, but instead I'm rich with family, and that's thanks to him as well. For one thing, I have my grandpa to thank for raising my mom to be the person she is today. She's every bit as hardworking as he is, and it's because of the both of them that I was able to have a roof on my head and food in my mouth. Then my grandparents not only had a hand in raising me, but some of my cousins, the children of family, friends, and neighbors as well. It was never a dull moment in the house because he had a bunch of kids running around the house all the time. But despite us not being his own children, he raised us as if we were. It's unfortunate that he only had the chance to return home to the Philippines once since he moved here, but he never forgot about them and would send home money whenever he had the chance. I don't have one favorite memory of my grandpa. Instead, it's a mixture and collection of different memories that stood out to me. When I was in elementary school, he'd walk me to school in the morning, and then he'd walk me home in the afternoon. I even remember one time when he was there at an award ceremony and stood next to me as I received the Student of the Month award. He'd asked me to walk with him. He'd ask me to walk with him to Moon Park on the weekends so that he could talk to his friends. Or he'd go off walking with my grandma to McDonald's and buy me French fries and hotcakes because they knew it was my favorite. Now that my grandpa's gone, I'm going to miss a lot of things about him. The way he'd smile and laugh when my grandma would kiss him. His favorite red jacket he'd always wear and the brown beanie he used to wear with it. I'll miss looking into his room while he was sleeping, checking his chest to see if he was breathing, and being relieved when I'd see his chest rise. But while this is a time to grieve and mourn, it's also a time to celebrate and be thankful. Celebrate his life, all 96 years of it, and to be thankful of the time we did have. Thankful that even though he's no longer here physically with us, that he'll continue to have an impact on our lives and those around us because of the love and values he's instilled in us, and that he'll be looking down on us from heaven, helping us along the way. Thank you. And next is Joy. She's the number like 2 or 3 of them.
Good evening, everyone. Magandang gabi po at maabi gabi po kung tamanhalan. For those of you who don't know me, I am the daughter of Josue and Rosemary Eclevia, and one of Ama Liloy and Indo Soling's granddaughter, the 13th among their 16 grandkids. You also may know me as Joy, the name everyone in my family calls me. I know that most of you here tonight knew my grandpa, or Ama Liloy. Ama was such a wonderful person who had a very big heart for everyone, especially for my grandma, Indo Soling. Ama and Indo were a good example of a perfect couple. Watching them kiss, laugh, and talk about random topics or chismes was an inspiration for us that true love really do exist. Ama was a sweet person. He might have looked serious by his facial expression, but he was so easy to please. To make him smile, laugh, and cry. Not because he was upset, but because it was tears of joy. Because just like us, iyakin din po si Ama. I remember when I got married in 2011, he kept asking my husband and I for grandkids. He told me he will try and wait for one. Last year, he kept teasing me that my husband and I didn't know how to make a baby. He kept laughing at us. But after that, he told me he was sorry because he couldn't wait any longer. He kept saying that his time was coming. We both cried. I asked him to try and wait for a baby and to give us an extension, which he did. All of my aunties and Uncle Domen kept saying that I am Grandpa's favorite apple. They said that I always make him smile and happy. I am not the number one apple, because that's where I am styled. Nika, Eclevia, and Joel, my brother, would disagree and say the actual number one apple was them. Every time we would ask if we were the number one apple, Grandpa would just laugh and say, "Oh." So basically, everyone was his number one apple. We were so blessed that we had a chance to know him. Not everyone gets to meet their grandparents. Ama, being able to live for 96 years was a blessing. And for that, I will be forever thankful that we had a lot of good memories that we will treasure for the rest of our lives. You will always be in our hearts, Grandpa. We love you so much, Ama. You will always be the Pogi Ama Liloy. I love you, Ama.
So again, I just wanted to thank everyone for coming. If you haven't had a chance to eat, there is food over there in that third room. You can also visit my grandpa and say hello. I just wanted to also say that his funeral will be held on Tuesday. Mass is going to be at St. Mary's at 10 o'clock, and then we'll immediately go to the burial site afterwards. So thank you.
I know when Joel was crying the other day when he was going back home. Because fuck, I was already up with somebody. I would be too, Joel. But don't you know the pictures like either it's like Christmas,
It's Christmas Eve.
or Thanksgiving? Look at the date, look at the date.
I always see him come by the house to get the cans. This one.
Oh, anak mo.
Oh. We should move her to the VIP section.
Sino? Papunan. Kadarating niya lang. Kadarating niya.
Ewan ko sigurado yun na ito. Ipetang, ay dayo. Nagpasensya o naglamig.